Yes, we see.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just.
So, to kick off this incredible event, I want to welcome back to SRDS, a familiar face to many of you. Erin Rose Carr is currently a rising junior at Syracuse University, where she is double majoring in entrepreneurship and
Can you hear? Can you hear the video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
emerging enterprises
Yes.
and marketing management. While at SRDS, Erin was heavily involved on campus in numerous facets, ranging from the president of the Community Service Club, to costumes, hair, and makeup for our theater productions, to captain of the volleyball team and the track and field teams, and she has continued to do the same at Syracuse University, blending her passion for sports and her constant energy to help her become highly involved in her school. This summer, she's working as a tournament coordination intern for the Illinois Junior Golf Association and the Mid-American Junior Golf Tour. So please give Erin a warm welcome.
When I was in kindergarten, I was called mean because I wanted to set up the blocks a certain way, even though the boys normally did it. When I was in middle school, I was called difficult because I wanted to play the role of the lead pirate, even though it was a role that was meant for a boy. Later on, I was called bossy when I was the captain of the high school track and field team, when I would run practices a certain way, even though when my male co-captain would do the same thing, no one would say a thing. Were they correct in saying I was bossy? Yeah, because I am bossy. But the tone was different. The tone was different than if they called my male co-captain bossy. But my favorite of all of these nicknames or adjectives was when I gained the nickname Butch. When I was in high school and even now, I've always been pretty athletic looking, pretty aggressive, outgoing, and outspoken. I have a deep voice. Dude and bro are staples of my daily vocabulary. So when I was in high school, Butch was written across all of the backs of my athletic shirts. It was what I was referred to by my coach. It was what I was referred to by other coaches. And a lot of people thought this was really derogatory. A lot of people thought this was offensive and rude and undermining my gender. But for me, it was something that never bothered me at all. It was something that, rather than being offended by it, I chose to embrace it. Whether we've known it since we were children or not, gender roles have been around since we were little. As a child, as a little girl, I was given tiaras and dolls, and little boys were given trucks and blocks to play with. So the question now is, where are gender roles going? They're impressed upon us since we're little kids. They are shown to us by our parents, by our peers, by our teachers. As a little kid, if a little boy were to say he wanted to be a fashion designer, people would give him a funny look. Or if a girl said she wanted to be a firefighter, people would be puzzled and confused. So the interesting thing about where we are now is that we live in a society where misconceptions and stereotypes are so common, which is both an amazing and a horrible thing. It allows us to live by the standards set forth by society, and it allows us to either use those and abide by them, or it allows us to shun them. So where are gender roles moving from now? So ever since high school, I always am asked if I'm straight, if I'm gay, if I'm bisexual, and I'm also always have a weird habit of getting hit on by girls. So I started asking a bunch of friends of mine, why do people think I'm gay or bisexual, or why do people not believe me when I say I'm straight? And they ask me, are you sure you're straight? I checked, I'm pretty sure, thank you. So people, everyone started saying, it's your attitude, it's the way you look, it's your personality. So I started thinking about it. What about my personality makes people think I'm gay? So the way I hold myself. I'm aggressive, I'm outgoing, I'm loud, I have a deep voice, and honestly, I don't care a lot of times. I don't really have the best filter at all. But then I think about the way I look. I'm short, I'm athletic, I'm muscular, I'm a personal trainer, I like to lift. So I think about it. And obviously there's a difference when you look at two photos. One on the left, I look like a little boy. And the amount of times I've been mistaken for a little boy. A lot. So You know, the interesting correlation with this is we're starting to base gender roles, and we're starting to base people's sexual orientation off of the way they look and the way they act, which isn't a correct correlation to make at all. So the cool thing about that is that we're starting to push away from what society expects of us. We're starting to push away from the traditional expectations of a man and a woman. Women are gaining higher roles in companies. They're no longer abiding by these stereotypes that are set forth. But we're still being stereotyped into these groups because of the way we look and the way we act. So women are starting to work more now than ever. Men are starting to become stay-at-home fathers. But the thing now is that men and women are still given these funny looks. Women in corporate America are looked at kind of funny, and men who are deemed as stay-at-home fathers are seen as peculiar. When our parents were kids, these gender roles were considered taboo. Our parents grew up in a society where the father was expected to go to work, make money, and provide for his family, and the woman was expected to stay at home, watch the kids, and provide, which isn't where we are anymore in our society. Women are starting to work, men are becoming stay-at-home fathers, but we're still being confined to these weird expectations where when a woman goes, yeah, I'm a CEO of X company, they're like, what? What do you mean? In 2015, 24 of the 500 Fortune 500 companies were CEOs. 24 of these were women. Is that a huge number? 24 out of 500? No, it's not. But if you look where we were 20 years ago, we're making a lot of progress. So the question I want to pose now is gender equality. The thing about gender equality is that women in corporate America are seen as cold, as calculating, and the B word. And men, who are stay-at-home fathers, are sometimes looked at like they have three heads. So the thing I want to pose, gender equality. Am I a feminist? Yes, I am. Am I a man-hater? No, I'm not. Feminism and man-hating are starting to become this really common correlation with each other, which really isn't a true thing at all. In order to be a feminist, it's not putting men down. It's choosing to empower yourself. It's choosing to empower women with the aid of men. Is gender equality ever going to be a real thing? No, it's not. I'll be blatantly honest with you, it's not. Men and women are anatomically different. We have different physical and emotional thresholds and capacities, which is what makes us different and beautiful in our own special ways. So the thing with that is that men and women are now starting to swap the roles that are given to them by society. And we're starting to stray away from the stereotypes that have been pressed upon us. We're starting to move towards a society where men and women are becoming equal. But the only way that men and women, in my opinion, will ever become equal is when men and women can do the same thing in a corporate environment and not receive backlash. When a woman can do the same thing as her male counterpart and not be called cold, calculating, unjust, aggressive, or the B word. The thing about our society is that we have expectations of our children, of our kids, of our families. And these expectations aren't necessarily correct because we're moving in a direction where women don't just have to be stay-at-home moms and men don't just have to go to work. So telling a kid what they can and cannot be when they grow up is like telling me what I should do with my life. I love my mother, but when she decides to tell me you can't do X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to listen to her. So the thing with that is that you can't tell a child they can't be a firefighter. You can't tell a little boy he can't be a fashion designer if that's what he wants to do. That's like telling me who I should be because of the way I look and the way I act, which simply isn't the way it works. So last night I was flying back here from Chicago, and I started thinking about something that my mom used to say to me when I was a little kid. She always used to say, Erin, you can't judge a book by its cover, which I think is a completely true statement. You can't judge a book by its cover. The way we look, the way we act, the way we hold ourselves. That's the cover of our book. That's the summary written on the back. That's the epilogue, the prologue. But the interesting thing is that that's not the definition of what our book is. The way society defines us isn't the definition of what our story is about. So I'm writing my autobiography. You're writing yours, he's writing his, she's writing hers. But it's not what society wants us to write about anymore. It's what we choose to write about. Thank you.
Okay, a quick reflection. What did you hear from? Erin Rose? Yes, Vera.
Well, what I heard is that most times, even when we are young,
Yeah.
gender roles are assigned and women are kind of made to feel less than men. When roles are actually given, and even like when she says that from her physique, she was named a butch, you know, meaning that is like being masculine, you know, like for you to look masculine or present masculine, you have to have a name that is not female like. It has to be something that is a bit bold, you know.
So anything which is not assigned rule or norm is seen as abnormality, is something anomaly. So therefore you use derogatory words to put down those people because they are performing roles which are not traditionally assigned. I think one thing that we need to look at is, in spite of changes that is happening around, there is still this socialization that puts people in different boxes, stereotypes. I think that is one tagline that we need to keep in mind. Let's look at Mary, Jane, and Paul.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, yes, Mary.
Yeah. I like it when she talked about the traditional expectations.
Yeah.
When especially like a girl child is born, there are expectations, traditional expectations, and is socialized in a certain way.
Yeah.
For example, when she says she was called the bossy, she was called all those names.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if she was a boy, those names were going to be very normal and acceptable.
Yeah.
But as a woman, when she's called bossy, it is said like in bad taste.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, because in Kenya, we are seeing a lot of femicide. We are seeing a lot of women being killed by very close intimate partners, especially husbands and boyfriends. We are experiencing a lot of women being murdered. I'm just wondering, should it be associated with women trying to run away from the traditional expectations? Like a woman will be killed because she has a better job than her husband. She has more money. She's driving a better car. You know, it is really, I believe it is one of the reasons that women are being killed in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Jane?
Thank you. My perception of the whole thing is that freedom of either gender, whether male or female, is curtailed. You have no freedom of choice. What you want, what you feel like doing, or what you want to do. That's my take.
Yeah.
It's already decided where you should go. You have no freedom to do.
Thank you, Jane. Where are you from, Jane?
I'm from Kenya. I'm from Kenya.
Yeah. Shirley?
Thank you. From the video, it's very evident that gender roles that are assigned by society limit women, especially, such that we are unable or incapable of achieving our full potential, solely based on these roles that are assigned by society.
Thank you, Shirley. Where are you, Shirley, from?
Kenya.
Kenya, okay. Ruth and then Helena, and then we need to move on.
Hello, my name is Ruth from Kenya.
Okay.
It looks like the platform today is for Kenyan.
Yeah, seem to be. Everyone is from Kenya.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this is a very interesting perspective, especially on the side of women and leadership.
Yeah.
Over the recently concluded general elections,
Yeah.
the women who campaigned with big voices and looked like the bossy, for example, to be told choice of language, the women who looked strong and powerful never ended up being elected. Citizens elected the ladies who seemed very polite, not speaking out in a kind of way, and not looking enthusiastic in a kind of way. And you see now it ends up leaving the quality women that we would prefer at the helm of leadership. Yeah, I wanted to make a point.
Thank you, Ruth. Helena and Presentina.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
I'm
Yeah.
Helena from Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about assigned gender roles. I see that assigned gender roles limits both men and women.
Yeah.
For instance, we find cases where women are told women have to dress in a specific way, like you're not supposed to wear trousers.
Yeah.
When you go to work, I've had experiences where a woman is told that, you know, you cannot be paid a certain amount of money because you have a husband who also provides for you, so you don't need a lot of income.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find women sometimes, like women of childbearing age.
Yeah.
You find that most organizations don't even take care of their time. Like they don't give them specific times, working hours to allow them to tend to their children. They work, you know, equal hours like any other person. Then you find that men or boys are limited in the sense that their roles are also specified. Like traditionally, you would be told boys are not supposed to go to the kitchen. Boys are not supposed to wear certain things, you know, certain type of clothes that is meant for women, you know. Yeah, so I know there are interventions around that are trying to, you know, empower young boys and young girls, and especially young girls, you know, to have their power, to be able to speak up and to be able to take any roles that are assigned to them without having barriers. Barriers are being broken, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done around that because of the stereotypes that are really fixed. And you know, some of them are even fixed through the religious prejudices. Like, in some religions, or a woman is not supposed to do this, a woman is supposed to do this, men are supposed to do this, men are not supposed to do this. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Thank you, Helena. I think it is in terms of gender roles are limiting both men, women, and others also. Boys
and others, yes.
Yes. Presentina?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to talk about the feminism and feminists. The speaker says that there is a theory which is called the feminist, and the feminists are not struggling to put men down, but they want to show, they struggle to show or to meet that men and women are equal. And I think this way of thinking is very good, because if the number of men who are feminists increases, it will help to reach that equality we want. Thank you.
Thank you, Prestina. Vivian, and then we need to move on after Vivian. Vivian?
Okay, thank you very much, and hi everyone. I think from the video, it's evident that the roles assigned by the community usually affect our lifestyle and limits both men and women, in that you can find the men are pressed with certain issues, but because of the stereotype that men are not supposed to cry, they end up being even depressed because
Okay, thank you, Viviana. I think there is a disruption. Let's move forward. I think it's a good introduction that trigger the discussion session that we have. Let me share the slide just for a minute, because this is available with you. You can refer to that. Can you see the slide, please? Can you see the slide?
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So today's discussion is, as we know, despite there is, can I request, please mute yourself. Hello. Yeah, despite the changes, we still find that there is a gender stereotype. Still, this assigned roles, you still face challenges. So today's discussion, we thought as individuals, we come from the same culture, same socialization process, which made us to believe what we should be doing, how we should conduct ourselves as males or females. And then therefore, there is always a confusion, a challenge in terms of if we want to go out of that stereotype. So today's my request is to introspect into our own personal life in terms of what gender norms or gender roles or gender relations that we still experience. And what processes led you to believe that that is acceptable, and if you do it differently, what consequences that you may face. So how did this translate into the way we think, the stereotypes, the feel in terms of prejudices and act discriminatory? And did you ever inquire into other sexes? What do they feel about it? What was their experience? What was the impact? And what insights we will come back to in terms as a last question. So this is what we are looking, each individual, we are looking, you can choose any norm or any role or any relation, and then look at in terms, how did it impact your life? How did you come to know about that? How are you practicing that? How are you showing it in the way that towards other people? So I would like men also to participate. I think even on Monday, there was only a lone male who has voiced. I would request the men also to participate, because as we said, in terms of gender roles affect men and women, and then both get impacted by this. So I will close the slide, but the slide is available with you. What we are looking is in terms of your own individual experience, despite being activists, being change agents, being aware of the inequalities. What are any norm, gender norm or gender role and gender release that you still experience in your own personal life? So I stop the share, and I will look for people to. The floor is open for discussion. Ruth?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my hands down.
Oh, okay. Alisa, can you please mute your yeah. Who will start? I would like you to be volunteering and objective. This is for learning, so we are not judgmental on individuals who still hold this norm, gender roles and norms.
Pardon, what did you ask?
I have asked in terms of now we are reflecting to our own personal life. Please identify any gender norm or gender role or gender relation that you are experiencing in your personal life. And then tell us in terms, how did you come to know about that? What was the process through which you were made to accept that, or you were made to be threatened by the consequences? And how is it translating into, in terms of stereotypes, in terms of prejudices and discrimination? This is more in terms of our own. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Veronica.
I'm Veronica from Kenya. Yeah, from Kenya. One of the issues I faced was that Kenya is making a lot of efforts on gender equality in terms of women, but not in terms of accepting the LGBTQ. So I'll talk about the women because that is my issue. We are making strides in women equality, but not really on all gender. I would not give us that credit.
Okay.
So I was leading an organization in Turkana, and I was a lady and very young, and I got all the frustrations starting this organization as a small as a woman, and I called meetings, and there was this coldness and these struggles, and I would not be listened to, and that is when the realization, I was in my 20s, that okay, I think this, because I'm a woman, what would have been if it was a man running this organization. And actually the frustration was much until I gave up. So the CBO I started failed because I could just not manage. No one would listen. I was always fighting, and I failed just because I was a woman. Yeah.
So is in terms of the way what you are facing with others, is that this is what you are facing with others, no? Is in terms of others not respecting you or not giving you in terms of your own views and choices? That's what you are saying. But yeah, but do you
yes,
still
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And the implication was the organization I did not proceed. The CBO did not work out because there was no goodwill from the community. I wondered if
good. Yes, Veronica, that was a good. But it is a very good initiative that you were able to initiate this movement, this organization, on a very important group that we have. I think these are the challenges that you are facing, which is determined by gender norms and roles. Thank you very much. Let's listen to Mary. And yes, Mary.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. I think I want to share something very personal.
Okay, thank you.
In our family, we are 7 of us.
Okay.
We have 4 sons and 3 daughters.
Yeah.
So my father passed on in 2010. And I am a community leader. I'm a real leader in the community. I have been encouraging women to fight for their rights. But after my father died, when it came to sharing his land among his children, my brothers have taken everything. And I have tried my best. I've gone to court. I have tried to tell my 2 sisters, we have to fight for our right, because according to the Kenyan constitution, a child is a child. Both boys and girls have a right to their fathers to inherit. But I can see my sisters are so scared. They are not willing to go it. And I have gone to the area chief, and the chief asks me, why do you want to fight for land with your brothers? This is not right. You're being bossy. You're being arrogant. It's not right. Why are you fighting your brothers? But it's not a fight. I'm just looking for my own right. Because I have every right to own my father's land. So that's where we are. My brothers are sharing. They are putting up houses in the land. And I'm still fighting, but it's really tough. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was a wonderful thing in terms of how still the gender norm continues. Access to land, access and control over resources is male driven. So therefore, any claim by daughters is seen something which is not acceptable or not advisable. So therefore, the like what you were saying in the chief or any other societal institutions would persuade you that not to proceed further. Thank you, Mary, for sharing that personal life experience. Ruth?
Yeah, another personal experience here. For a long time, I worked while my salary was going into the account of my husband.
Yeah.
That really pained me, and it was weird.
Yeah.
So when I negotiated for myself and it couldn't work for me because I'm a woman, I had to do it with a tough head and had another account. So for some time I received my salary, but eventually I was told I should be home to take care of my children and to nurture a family.
Yeah.
And over this period, I have always had a desire to be a political leader, and through election or through nomination. So when I shared this vision with him, he was always like, the day you put your feet into leadership and things like that, know that I'll have to find another woman to take care of your family, because then you'll be married to politics and all that.
Okay.
So then I dared, because I was tired of living a life that is not my own. I needed to experience who I am. I needed to do really what I was born to do. And so twice during election period, I've tried my feet in it, as much as I've not become successful, but I know I have dared to try what many people would not try.
Yeah.
And over that period, I lost my marriage, because then I'm supposed to be a traditional African woman who should be at home to nurture the family and all that.
Yeah.
But I accepted it, and it's all good. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruth, for sharing that. Yeah, I think these are the challenges that women face in terms of, do you need to choose between the two, or can you do it both? I think the traditional view is women need to be at the household rather than in the public spaces. I think that rules, despite the constitution, despite the changes that are happening, because these are all at the household level. The household level still continues to be, societal forces still continue to be condoning women's liberation. Thank you, Ruth, for sharing that personal life. Doreen?
All right, I also have a personal experience. Like 3 years ago, I was called for a workshop where we were put in groups to discuss a particular topic. But in our groupings, we had to discuss everything we were discussing. But the only thing I had a problem was only the guys were supposed to present the issue. Like only the men or boys were supposed to present the issues. We had to discuss as a group, but only the males were subjected to present the issue. I felt it was not right. I had to voice my views, but at a certain level, like there was this boss who had to come to me like, you know what, as a lady, you need to be polite, you need to be accommodative. You don't have to fight this. You have to leave these males and present. Otherwise, we won't be able to achieve whatever we should achieve. I found it was not fair, because there were no equal opportunities, because we had to discuss a thing. It was like equally we discussed together, but when it comes to presentation, we're not given equal opportunities. So I felt like that wasn't fair enough.
Thank you, Doreen. This is a norm in terms of women can participate, but men only should present. Thank you, Doreen. Yeah, that was a very, very good incident. Pesh?
Oh yeah, hi, I am Pesh in Kenya.
Yeah.
So my experience is personal as well. So I am a gender transformation MD. And you know, there are some gender norms like there that say that women, female representing, people who are found female at birth are supposed to dress in some type of way. They're supposed to put on dresses, they're supposed to put on skirts. So when, you know, I dress my children sometimes. So when I move around, you will be like, oh yes, girl, you're just so weird. And I am glad that I am part of so many organizations.
Pesh, there is some disturbance in you. We can't hear you properly.
Oh.
Yeah, there is some disturbance.
Where did you go? Are you able to hear me now? Are you able to hear me?
We can hear, but there is a disturbance.
Oh. Okay, let me move.
Maybe around you, there must be some.
Yeah, it's in the neighbor.
Okay.
So I don't know, should I just type at the chat section?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Pesh.
Should I chat or should I type on the chat section?
Yeah, you finish, you complete it, and then let's see whether we can make out. Yeah, now it's seem to be. Pesh, continue.
Yeah. Yes, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've experienced discrimination the way I feel.
No, Pesh, can you please write it in the chat?
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Helena.
Yeah, the kind of gender norms that I've experienced in my life are more towards not being allowed to go to work, that a woman should, there's that statement, a woman should always be below the man is always above, and a woman's voice should not be heard. Okay. And that a woman's place is to do the housework. Yeah, despite wanting to upgrade my education level. Yeah. So I decided just to go ahead and work. Yeah. And that led to me being forced to take up all the household responsibilities, my household chores alongside providing for the house. Yes. Yeah. And that also led to my divorce. Yeah. So because I was now being looked at as hot-headed, I'm not listening. Yeah, and I want to compete with men. Yeah. And even at that point now, when I wanted to enroll for college, it was really, to upgrade myself, it was really a lot of, it was chaotic. But still at the end of it, I looked at it that at the end of the day, an empowered woman is also able to empower their household. Yeah. So I still went ahead, and that is why I'm even here in this class, to keep empowering myself, to build myself so that I'm able to build other young girls around me.
Vanjuru, can you please unmute? YouTube, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Helena, for sharing that. I think, those are the challenges women will face when they would like to be acting what they are as per their right. I think this. Thank you for joining us. I think it's wonderful to have you. Miss Mary and Jane. Vanjuru, you would like to speak? Vanjuru Karyuku. Okay, Mary, can you please go ahead?
Yeah. Okay, I really want to share this one again.
Yeah.
I work in a rural community with an NGO that I founded. Yeah. And through this NGO, I think we have done so much. I have put up over 500 houses for poor people. I have taken so many children to school, like 325 have attained university education. I have done everything that a good politician would do.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, I started talking about violence against women.
Yeah.
And I have talked about violence against women. Internationally, really, because I've received awards. There's a lot of sexual violence against children where I am in Kenya, in Busia County.
Yeah.
And now, in the last election, I vied as a woman representative. And I really thought like I stood a very good chance because I'm talking to protect women, while others were just saying, you know, I'll put up a road, I'll put up water. I was talking about women with cancer. I was talking about violence against women. I was talking about the education of the girl child and even boys. But now the funny bit is that everybody was saying, yes, Mary has done so much. Mary has done so much. Mary has done so much, but she gets men arrested when they rape children. But she has made women big-headed. When you beat women, they go and report. And that is actually why I lost. Because that is why I lost. Because I'm saying something that is against the norms. Because where I live, beating a woman is normalized. Defiling a small girl is so normalized. And everybody was like, no, if we vote for her, then all the men will go to prison.
Okay.
And that's how I lost,
Yeah. I think this is trivializing the issue. So that's what they are doing in terms of, rather than actually looking in terms of introspection, how much they are part of that problem. Thank you, Mary, for sharing that, and all appreciation for your good work. Jane, Natalia, and Elizabeth. Jane?
Thank you. I also want to share an experience. I also work with the rural communities. I did draw a proposal, and this proposal was supposed to address the drudgery, and especially so in agriculture. The community that I had targeted, the women are not supposed to address men. So at the inception of this particular project, where I had put the objective as the key thing was to address issues of the drudgery, and especially for women and youth. When we went for the inception meeting and we were there, so as a woman, I could not go and address. Women are supposed to sit at the back. And not supposed to actually to be heard. They're just supposed to sit there as stooges, or actually they're not supposed to be seen. So I could not get through to that, but I had a colleague who comes from around that particular community, and so he kind of took over the project because we had gotten some partners who were ready to invest in the same. But what pissed me off is that the objectives of the projects were turned around to suit other issues that were not the same as that I had addressed in the proposal. So actually, and I really felt bad about it because it had taken time, a lot of research to be able even to back this particular proposal. Okay, they carried it, but they carried it according to their own terms. So that is my experience, and thank you.
Thank you, Jane. That's where, in terms of you can take the ideas, but you cannot publicly present those ideas. Natalia?
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Natalia from Mozambique.
Okay, Natalia.
I just want to share a little my experience on the gender norm that I've experienced in my family. When we have meetings, we normally have chairs put around for people to sit. and we have men and women together on this meeting. When the women are sitting on the chairs, with a man just standing, we called as women to give the seats to the men. So me sometimes, because I have a big mouth, I ask them, why should I give my seat to a man? Why shouldn't I sit in the same where he's going to sit? And then they said, no, because you are a woman, you should sit on the floor. So I find it very difficult, and I'm like, why is it different? Because if I'm going to sit on a chair, you also sitting on a chair, you can also sit on the floor like I'm going to sit on the floor. So we face a lot of these problems here in Mozambique because of religion or cultural things. So this is what I wanted to share a little bit with you.
Thank you, Natalia. That was very interesting. Yeah. In terms of how do you feel dignity? Because dignity is for both. It's not for one. So if you can sit on the floor, the men also can sit on the floor. That's very, very important. Elizabeth?
Exactly.
Yeah. Elizabeth?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth. Mine is different. I'm sharing some case from one of my family members. You find that nowadays in Kenya, we have a competency-based curriculum that has been rolled out. And you find that the kids that are participating, of course, we have both boys and girls. I have this cousin of mine who is a boy, but the boy is very good at cooking, baking. But then you find that the parents are very, they are not, of course, they are not welcoming that idea. They are condemning the boy at why should you do this cooking? You know, boy things should be like this masculinity. You find that we are very much backwards when it comes to gender roles, because you kind like you want to define your child's role even at birth, or just because someone is a boy or is a man cannot do like things like cooking. But you find that we are really missing it, because that child or that particular person might be having a very great future when it comes to that point of career. So you find that most of the people are really undermining those. I also have, now this is personal, my child is a boy, a small one, like 1 year and a half, 1.6 months. So this boy, of course, is a child, but then you find that sometimes like the family members, especially the father, cannot like entertain when the boy is interested in dolls. Like he has to condemn him and say, no, this is a girl, these are girl things. Why are you touching dolls? Nini? But you find that I really find it so demeaning, even at that early age, because the boy cannot like really identify himself as a boy. He thinks that everything is good for him. So these are part of the building blocks when it comes to the gender inequality.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Suwali. I think that's there in terms of the fairness. So gender rules and gender norms are always unfair. They are discriminatory, depriving people. So that's where in terms of, it's always given in terms of inheritance, the access to resources, control over resources is all male driven. Okay, let's look at in terms of, let's move in terms of, I think all what we have discussed is in terms of that you wanted to make a change. You wanted to act differently, but you have been saying in terms of what obstacles you are facing in terms of the existing gender norms and rules. May I now ask in terms of you yourself, despite all this, do you have any norm that you still are grappling? You don't want to do it, but you are still doing it. I would now request, there are some men in the group. Can men open up, please? I see Abraham is there. I don't know about others because I can't make out from the names. Are there men in the group? Abraham Chown? Hello?
Yes, how are you, sir?
Yes, can you? Yeah, I think we are only listening from a woman's voice. Can you tell about your own personal experience of a gender norm or a gender role that you are grappling with, that you don't want to do it, but you still may be forced to do it?
For me, in my community, I think we have a culture that have assigned the female gender to a certain activities that should be done in a household. But in the recent days, government and other local authorities and NGOs are trying hard to fight those cultures that they are discriminating the other gender. So from the look of the things, the issue of gender norms, it is being solved gradually, and very soon it will be eradicated in our community.
Yeah. But thanks, Abraham. I'm just asking in terms, do you, in your own personal life, are you practicing any of the norm, gender norm?
No. No.
Okay. Kelvin, thank you, Abraham, for Kelvin. I see you, man. Can you share your experience? Because we come from the same culture, same patriarchal society. So consciously or unconsciously, we may be contributing to that. Yeah. Yes, Kelvin. Can you please?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. With me, it's rather a tricky situation because as a man in our community, you're supposed to be the one leading. Okay. Now the trick comes in when you are required to lead, but then you want to make the females play a role. Then you give some of the roles to women so they can help with. But at the end of the day, you are deemed weak because you can take all responsibility by yourself, but rather you want females to help. So it's a tricky situation with the community that I live in. But then gradually, I think people are now accepting little by little the fact that women can also take a leading role. Yes.
Okay, I would still like people to be more open in terms of because we have listened to what Erin was saying, and we also know it's a reality. The first response is always a denial, because if it was so, then it's no more an issue, but it is an issue across the globe. So we are all part of the same societal fabric, which we have made to believe and accept these differences need to be maintained. So I was just trying to see whether there is anyone who can share their experience of dealing with. I see Nelly was saying one time I had a police refused to attend and listen to me until my husband came. The car belonged to and was registered under. So I think this is where I think see whose voice they need to listen to. So the institutions, the police institution, they will only listen to the male voice. Thank you, Melly, for sharing that. Nelly. Leshomo, I'm looking more and more men to share, but I would be more happy if you can really introspect in terms of the gender norms that you still need to follow, despite probably you don't want to do it, but you need to do. Are there any instances where you feel that you believe that you don't know it to, you want to be different, but you are forced to do it? Leshomi and Millicent.
Thank you very much, Prof. I'm Leshomo from Botswana. There are things that I think as different nationalities, now that we are faced with gender-based violence, we tend to either forget the norms and the stereotypes, and we find that it's either we are practicing it or we are condoning it, or we are basically walking away from that. The reason why I'm saying this is one of the norms, I don't know whether it cuts across nationalities. You know, when you have sisters, you have brothers, when you are from poor families, it's a norm that, you know, children birth together without saying this is a girl, this is a boy. But then when we climb the societal ladder and we get accustomed to, you know, these issues of gender-based violence, we now are grappled with whether as a father I should be birthing my girl child or I should be birthing the boy child. I mean, that is one thing that I have pondered about, and I'm grappling with, and I wanted to throw it to the class because, you know, I've thought, what is the issue here? What if I'm the only parent, I'm the single parent and I'm the man, and my child is a girl? Should I send this girl to be birthed by neighbors or what? So I don't know. I really grappled with that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leshomo. I think let's listen. Let's see what's the response from others, what Leshomo was raising. What do others think? Vivian, Mary, Helena. Would you first,
May
would you
speak?
respond to Leshomo and then you can share yours.
I would like to respond to Leshomo. I actually wanted to give out something I'm grappling with, but his is quite interesting because as a woman, I'm raising children, both boys and girls. And I found myself doing what Leshomo is saying, that sometimes I restrict the older children, the boys to bathe the girls and the girls to bathe the boys. So, you know, he brings out an interesting perspective, and I'm thinking, what if I'm left with the younger girls and older boys? So if I'm away, what happens? What happens to the young girl? But you see, this is also brought about by the rising cases of child molestation. So as a mother, I say, I do not want to expose my child to this boy. I could be tempting these children, you know. I'm doing my best as a mother to raise the children, but you know, there's also that thing at the back of my mind. A child was molested by the significant other. So I think that is what brings in that perspective that, you know, let the girls handle the girls and the boys handle the boys.
I think it's very, very sensitive area. I think the choices that one makes is more appropriate to oneself, because I don't think there is an universal answer to this. I think if you are only left with suppose if there is single parent and there is only a girl that he has to take care, you can't apply the same thing there. Yeah. Thanks, Helen, for sharing that. Yes, Vivian.
Thank
and
you.
Mary.
Okay, this is Vivian.
Yeah.
And well, as much as there is this norm that daughters are not supposed to inherit lands from their parents, as much as I'm an empowered woman, but I'm still not going to inherit, because if I start that initiative, I'll be fighting with my siblings over the same. So to avoid the fights, I would rather not inherit the land. And I'll try as much as possible to ensure that my kids now, even if they're daughters, they do inherit the land.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. I think that's more in terms of, so you, what I understood, you feel your own right to claim ownership over our inheritance, but you prefer not to enter into conflict with your brothers.
Yeah, sure.
That's what you are saying.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's look. Mary Elizabeth.
Yeah. Okay. I've been handling a lot of marital issues.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this for men. That we have a different husband in the city.
Yeah.
Like when a woman sometimes, most of the time,
yeah,
a woman lives with her husband in Nairobi. The man helps in the house. The man even will change the baby's diapers. Okay. The man will even go to the market. The man will help, will cook in the house.
Okay.
But when this man comes back to the village,
yeah,
he cannot do that because his mother will think he's a weakling. His mother will think like the wife is controlling him.
Yeah.
So I've had so many cases of couples, people who are working in big offices. Yeah. Like when they come back home, now the man becomes violent. He will slap you just to show the mother that, to show his parents that he's the man. To show the parents that he's the one in control. That happens a lot, yeah. So the man, the husband in the city and the husband in the village are totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Mary. I think one question that I would pose, one very critical aspect is the decision making. Do men in the group feel that it is normal for men to take a decision and it is not normal for women to take decision? Lesoma, Kelvin, Abraham, what's your view? Even if you have faced a confusion, undecisive approach in any decision that are.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Kondwani.
Yes, this is Kondwani from Malawi. According to me, I feel like the decision has to come after the two have agreed.
Yeah.
It's tricky sometimes that in some cases you find out that one party would agree to say you are to make the decision now, but it's necessary that you need to at least have a view from both.
Yeah.
But practically, I should mention, I think from where I'm coming from mostly, there are some factors that lead to decisions being made by men mostly than women. I'll start with the fact. I think one of my colleagues here mentioned about perpetuation of these gender norms are highly perpetuated by the female counterparts to men, where you find that your sisters, your mother or your aunties, in some cases, will force you to make a decision that you are to do because you want to prove to them that you are man enough in quotes, as per the patriarchal cultures. But the other area which I wanted also to comment is because our cultures in most cases has led most women to be subordinate, because the culture result into the inferiority complex within most women. When a woman is educated, is ably empowered and can make those decisions boldly. But in most cases, when a woman is not educated enough, in most cases, you find out that if the man is educated more than her, or has some resources more than her, or is a provider, in most cases, the woman will always wait for a man to make a decision. So to me, I feel like it's just a matter of how much empowered a woman is or a man is to make a decision. But under normal circumstances, I feel it's important that whether you have the resources, but you still need to get the views from for example, your partner or your sister or your mother when you want to achieve something or when you want to do something. Thank you.
But Kandwani, please, can you share, was there any incident where you were forced to prove yourself as man? I'm talking more at a personal level, not a theoretical in terms of what happens. But did you ever in your own life were forced to demonstrate that you're a man?
On several attempts. Sometimes I may not record or remember, but I've had incidences where there are sentiments to say you are a man here, so you do something. To me, that is telling me that as a woman, she cannot do what I'm able to do as a man. So it's something coming from the female count.
Can you elaborate in terms of what incident? Let's not for.
So for example, we want to contribute towards something at for example, I'll just give an example I'm afraid to mention about the funeral, but let's say at a wedding. So there's a wedding of a brother, and the brother needs some help. So in most cases, we to discuss who is bringing forth what, who is contributing what. So I've had cases where my female siblings are not interested to contribute, and in their sentiments they will pose a sentiment to say, I think you are a man, you're supposed to contribute. So to me, it means because I'm a man, I'm supposed to contribute. Because you're not, you are a woman, you're not supposed to contribute. So by doing so, it means a larger share of almost all the decisions are to be appended to a man, because he's a man to contribute, to feed the house, to win the bread. Where are the women now? So that's why I'm saying sometimes it's because of the culture that leads to the inferiority complex, and sometimes it's the culture that perpetuates little women to perpetuate other gender norms that are not supposed to be there. Yeah.
Thank you, Kandwani. Veronica, Helena, and Mary. Veronica, your hand is up.
Sorry, I didn't lower my hand. I'm sorry. I didn't have much.
Okay. Veronica? Still have any? Mary?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that anytime a man should know that he has a problem. If anytime maybe maybe he's having a discussion with the wife and he uses statements such as, you will know I'm the man in this house. I am the man in this house. It doesn't matter whether you are educated. I am the man in this house. I am the head of this. That really shows insecurity, and it shows this guy has a problem. And those statements are very common, especially in the rural areas.
I think. I think this. I think somewhere we need to accept this, and then move forward in terms of challenging it, because denying this fact is not going to help. Because I think, as Mary was saying, it's a strong cultural reinforcement that both sides, one on the men's side, they think that he is the man and he should be the decider, and on the other hand, she is the woman, so she should only be following. So both need to be challenged, and that has to come. That we need to accept that's the reality in whatever family that we come from at different points in time. And how do we challenge that? Veronica? Leshoma, you have anything to share?
No, thank you.
No, okay, yeah. Veronica Mukati? Your hand is up. Millicent?
Okay, thank you, sir. For me, I think I'm struggling because I am a female, but most of the time, the things that the society is expecting you to do, I find myself, I don't want to do those things. For example, in my family, you get that I live with my mom, so other siblings are out there working. So sometimes my mom is there telling me, you should help me to cook, you should help me to wash. And I'm like, me, I don't feel like doing those things, but I hate cooking and I hate doing those house chores. So, so my aunts are just there saying, you are now grown up, you should start doing these things. If you don't do these things, you're not going to get a good husband. You will not sustain your marriage. And I'm like, who said that if you know how to cook? Who said that if you know how to wash, it's your marriage will work? And so I'm just struggling. Even dressed, so sometimes I just wear some baggy sweatpants, and they tell me that, you are a lady, a young woman, so you should dress nicely. And I'm like, wearing sweatpants, that means I'm not dressing like a lady. And I find it quite difficult when I'm at home. Thank you.
Thank you, Millicent. Anyone else? Veronica, your hand is up. You want to say, or is it accidental?
It was just adding to what my friends are saying. I would also want to bring this perspective that apart from, I think the gender norms, if they are not hurting anyone, then we don't need to change a man into being a woman just because they have to be like women. Men are also men. So can there be gender norms that are normal, that are not harmful, that we can just cope with it? Because a man is also a man, and they have an ego, and that's how they're made. And that's and being married, I've realized respecting a man being a man and a woman being a woman does not necessarily mean that a man has to be a woman, and for women to have their way, men have to change. Because I feel like the men are under siege. Sometimes it's even hard for them to express themselves because yeah, this is how I feel, this is how I am a man, and this is how I express myself. Then the only thing is having the positive masculinity, but not necessarily that women should have their way. If I have my husband, he never cooks in the kitchen, but he buys everything in the house. Then we balance that, and it should just be okay. If I'm staying in the house and I'm washing the house and a man goes out to work, honestly, out of normal, it's like I would keep the house warm so that he's bringing in money, then he'll also be comfortable. He can't come out and then help me again if he's tired. So we also have to have our ways, like men also are gender, they have to be men, and they have to be respected by men, because we're having a crisis in our generation. Where now we are having men who are becoming women or confused. A young generation is confused. They don't know, because women are like, oh, men, and they just don't know what is good with being a man. I think also that conversation will also be there.
I think the problem, Veronica, is not in terms of, I think it has to be a decision between man and a woman at a household. So there is, I think as long as it is that is not assigned to a sex or gender, that's where we need to look at. The decision is not in terms of because you are a woman, you should do this, because I'm a man, I must do. As long as that binary is not there, I think the choice need to be left to the household and to the couple, to the spouses. Vera and Mary, and then we.
Yes, I think we as a society, and even the empowered persons, we have kind of let the gender roles take so much, and the societal norms in as much so much that, for example, in sexual reproductive health rights, a woman has to ask permission from the husband if she can go for family planning, you know, or this woman has to sneak to actually go and get family planning, meaning that she's empowered enough to know that she can space her family, but she still needs the validation of the man of the house that yes, now go, you know. And I think that is why most of this, even the campaign on vasectomy has really not taken shape so much, because then men are not able to bear or share the burden with women on matters family planning and the hormonal balances, because women are suffering a lot of diseases due to the kind of hormonal family planning methods that we are using, you know. And I think then there is the need to actually be intentional from the family level to involving men, such that a man can actually, even right from when they're given paternity leave, do they come home to sit with the women? No. Instead, he'll take the paternity leave, and at that point, he's going to build, you know. That's the time he's going to meet his friends. It's his time for leave. But you see, the woman is here at home waiting that my husband, I'm on maternity leave. My husband is supposed to be on paternity leave, helping me take care of the baby. Right? So it's a whole lot of self-reflection, even for the empowered women. You know?
That's Thank you, Vera. Jessica? Yes, Jessica, go ahead. Jessica Duby?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good morning.
Yes, I would like to contribute on issues, power relations, and decision making. In my view, power relations at the household and community level is highly dynamic. And when it comes to undominated decisions, whether in the household or community level, it will vary from one household to another. But many a times, because of our patriarchal nature of the society, men will usually dominate decisions. And in many times when their women disapprove, or when there's a disagreement, that is when issues arise. But generally, it also depends with the issue at hand. It is the issue at hand that will determine who dominates decisions, because you have a lot of empirical data showing men dominating in decisions, even at the community level. At least in the household level, you see there is joint decision, and many times men will dominate. But at the community level, because of the way we have been socialized, generally it is men that dominate the decisions, and they are the ones that have the upper hand. So in terms of power relations, just the way we have been socialized and the way the community is, that's the reality out there. And that's why even when it comes to the political arena, many times you'll find that a big percentage of the people in leadership, where main decisions are made, where policies are made, are men. And even when we talk of the two-thirds gender rule, women are still behind, and that's where matters. That is where, when it comes to decision making, it's very, very important. Because some of those policies that are done at the national level or at the county level, wherever, they have a trickle-down effect. We need now to have gender transformative forums where you can try at least to work with men as allies to ensure that we can transform some of these gender norms so that women can participate and then, of course, contribute to decision makings, both at the household, community, and national levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And let's come back in terms of, as a result of an hour and a half discussion, let's look at what insights did you get from this? Dominic?
Yes, hello. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
First of all, the issue of in our society, in our communities, there is a male-dominated society, whereby women have they don't have that capacity to make decisions. And this goes with culture, because some cultures, it's a taboo for maybe a woman to make some decisions or to participate in some ceremonies. So that limit or make it invidious for women to participate in some of the activities, e.g. decision making in the household, and maybe conducting some ceremonies, e.g. marriage ceremony and circumcision of men. So in our society here, especially in the northern part of Kenya, is in most of our in our community, male have higher chance in decision making and also in leadership. So that has really affected or make it lesser for women to participate in decision making and are conducting other activities which are important in our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. Let's come back and there's any quick feedback in terms of how did it go? What was the insight, or what did you gain from the discussion we had in the last 1 hour and a half? Any quick comments? How did it benefit you? Jessica, Mary?
Okay, can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this has been very, very interactive.
Yeah.
But again, what I'm getting from just what we are sharing
Yeah.
You know, we are talking, we are the activists in the communities, we are leaders in our communities, but you can see that this is also affecting us.
Yeah.
Like the traditional norms, the traditional expectations are so deep in us, and they are still like a problem even to us.
Yeah.
And then I just want maybe to say something from, I think it is Veronica who was saying, and I want to say that when we are thinking about gender equity, it's not like we are trying to make men into women. We are not trying to turn men into women, but we are trying to create that space that we shall have respect for each other. Yes, my husband can bring in all the food and I can cook the food, but that does not mean that my work is inferior to his. We have both contributed. You know, but traditionally it has been like women are just in the kitchen. They are only in the kitchen, like they do nothing. They just go to the farm without recognizing that this cooking, this going to the farm is very, very important. Even it enables my husband to go to work when he has eaten well, when his clothes are well washed. So my work as a woman is not inferior. And then also, like we want, like gender equity is about recognizing that we have even women who don't like to cook. Yeah, I may not like to cook. My husband may be a good cook. So if we respect each other, we should not look at him as abnormal when he goes to the kitchen. And I should not be looked at as abnormal because I don't like cooking. You know, I think for me, if we can achieve gender equity, then we shall have a very happy, balanced world.
Thank you, Mary. That was very powerful. I think Catalina, I think we'll have to end with that. Catalina. Catalina, can you raised your hand? Can you share your? Vera?
I think for me, one thing I still believe in is that the change starts with me.
Sorry?
Change begins with me.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Catalina, Jessica. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. I think there are more than 20 people who shared their views. I think it was very interesting debate that we had. I think what we need to look at is, as Mary was saying, we need to look at, despite we being activists or change agents, that still there are ambiguities and confusions on gender norms and rules. I think that we need to recognize this. We need to recognize this fact, and then we need to address that. Let's, as we go along, we probably will unearth more and more of that. So tomorrow, we'll meet tomorrow. Then, as I think we have just started today, some instances of leadership we have looked at. Tomorrow we will look at more in terms of how the leadership and authority need to be looked more as an individual skill rather than equate to masculine trait. Okay, let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you very much for all your participation. See you tomorrow.
See you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
See you. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.